real activist type candidates out there, including one of them that doesn't think that farmers work very hard. Boy, I think he should talk to my brother-in-law, my brother, my dad. Farming is hard work, because the one thing I learned on the farm, you don't eat till the animals have eaten, right? Even in the dead of winter when it's really cold, you take care of your livestock and you take care of the animals that depend on you. One of the candidates on the other side is at a fundraiser in, I think, Nantucket, raising money out that way. And then some people on the other side even seem to be afraid of a little state fair feedback. And that's what happens from time to time at the fair. I know all about that because I work in all 99 counties every single year and hear from people what's on your mind. That is how I learned how to serve better, how to serve every county in Iowa, because every county, every part of the state is different. I want to serve the whole state. I'm from Guthrie County, and yeah, proud. There's a couple of us here, a couple of proud Guthrie Countyans. And I know that while the fair's in Polk County, it's our big capital city, that's not the only county in Iowa. I serve the whole state, and I'm very, very proud and glad to get to do that as your Attorney General. We've got a big contrast in this election. It's not just in Iowa, I think it's nationally as well. You think about the importance of the office of Attorney General, where I uphold the law and the Constitution. I stand with our law enforcement, help crime victims, help to get justice. That is what it is all about. You don't have to look very far to see how that gets off track when liberals take over. So I'm going to say it's a little different in a place like Illinois, Minnesota, California, or New York. Not only do they have their woke mandates, you also look at them and they really don't respect their law enforcement like we do in Iowa. That's something I'm very proud of, because here in Iowa, we all respect the blue. We support our law enforcement 100%. Let's hear it for them. Yeah. Because they've got our back, and they should know that we have theirs. We are with them, and we appreciate what they do to keep us safe 24/7. When we're sleeping, there's a law enforcement officer on duty keeping us safe. And that's something we take for granted all too often in Iowa, but we sure do appreciate them. Well, we've had some very important things that we've gotten done in the Attorney General's office, some things that I'm really proud of. We have protected women's sports by upholding that law, women's bathrooms and locker rooms. We also have taken on the scammers that are out there. We all know somebody who's been scammed, and I bet there's people here today that know somebody that's been ripped off by a scammer or a con artist. And nothing makes me madder than seeing good-hearted Iowans cheated out of their money by an evil scammer. So we take on the scammers, we take them right on. And in fact, we were the first state in the union to sue the crypto ATMs that were being used as the getaway driver for people's money when they were getting scammed and ripped off. We sued them, and now today, one of those companies has declared bankruptcy, and we're still moving forward with those lawsuits to protect Iowans. We backed the blue. We asked the legislature to pass a law that would increase the penalties for someone who would assault a law enforcement or first responder. That is something that I'm glad to say is the law in Iowa, because we do support our law enforcement. They know we have their back. We've also done a lot to help victims of crime, including the audit we've done in our office to improve all of the services for victims of crime. That is something that really matters. And it's very important that when someone is a victim of a crime, that we are there to help them, because we know how difficult that can be. Nobody plans ahead to be a victim of a crime. We need to be there to help them and help them to get justice. And that includes doubling the reimbursement for nurses who are trained to help sexual assault victims all over Iowa, making sure that we have training for them so nurses can get trained on that, and making sure we get mileage reimbursement so that they can also serve the rural areas. We don't want to leave any county behind or any victim of crime behind. So those are some of the things we've been working on in the office. I got one more too that's very close to my heart as a mom and as a prosecutor. That's our cold case unit. That was something I campaigned on in 2022, that we needed to have a cold case unit to work on the over 400 homicides that we have here in the state. And it took a little bit, but we got it up and going. We have a dedicated prosecutor, we have investigators, and our first case was a Harrison County case that we brought to court 37 years ago. This woman, Barb Lentz, went missing, and today her murderer is sitting in prison. And that just as a constant reminder, 37 years. I'm 50. I was 13. I wasn't even a lawyer when that happened. But we are able to get justice for her. And we know we never give up on justice, do we? There is no statute of limitations on murder, and we're not going to let anybody get away with it. So if you know somebody that has a tip, have them call my office. We're looking at every single cold case in Iowa together with our law enforcement. A very important issue that is very, very close to my heart. Well, we've certainly done a lot in the office to uphold our laws and Constitution, defending our laws, defending our Second Amendment rights, defending all of our constitutional rights. That's what I do as Attorney General. And we've also been working on making sure we're getting the word out about scams so that people can be armed with information and know what they can do to protect themselves, their neighbors, and their family members. Because if we can prevent it in any way, we sure do want to do that. And if we can't, then we want to go after the bad guys and get them stopped. It's a big deal here in Iowa. Also, going after the fraud that is out there. That is something that we take on. And in fact, very thankful that Governor Reynolds put me in charge of the Medicaid Fraud Elimination Task Force. We are looking at what we can do. In Iowa, we do a good job of going after Medicaid fraud, but here's the question. Is good enough? I don't think so. We want to eliminate Medicaid fraud. We want to do everything we can to stop the fraud in the first place. If it does happen, make sure the fraudsters are held accountable, that we prosecute them for crimes, and that we go after them for the taxpayer money that they have ripped off from Iowans, and make sure that the Medicaid program can be there for people who need it. That's what we need, and that's why we work. You've got a big choice in this year's election for Attorney General. My opponent is pretty different from me. He's a liberal from Eastern Iowa, a lawyer, but there are a number of issues where we don't just see eye to eye. He did not support Stand Your Ground, that lets you defend yourself when you're attacked by a gunman, for example, a basic Iowa law that we now have, because everybody should have the right to defend themselves and their families. That's just basic common sense, basic Second Amendment. He's even against voter ID, which I can't understand that, because I would think everybody should be for voter ID. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, no party at all, we all want to know that the people voting are supposed to vote, and they're just voting once, right? Very basic. So I support voter ID. My opponent sure does not. And in fact, I even work to uphold our election integrity laws, and we have good elections in Iowa. I think we have a good system. We can do a good job. But there are times that somebody will slip through the cracks and vote illegally. And when that happens, I take that very seriously, because no illegal vote should cancel out an Iowan's legal vote. Once it's mixed in, you can't get that back out. And so we take that very seriously. We work to prevent illegal voting, but also if it does happen, we prosecute those who would vote illegally in Iowa, and including non-citizens that have voted in Iowa. We stand up for the law, we enforce the law. So we have done a number of things in our office. I don't even know if we could go through everything we've done to try to stand up for farmers and agriculture, but let's just say this. We have had to take on some of the woke states that are out there, including the Californias and New Yorks of the world, and we have had to make sure that they don't, for example, tell an Iowa farm family how to raise their hogs, or tell you as an Iowan that you have to drive an electric car if you want to. That's your choice. This is America. You can pick the one you want. But no other state should be forcing a state like Iowa to follow their rules. Here in Iowa, we're governed by Iowa laws and not theirs. So you got a big choice this year. I would really want to do this. I want to ask for your vote, because as your Attorney General, please know this. I will fight for you. I will fight to keep you and your children safe. I will uphold our law enforcement. I will support our Constitution and uphold our laws. I'm asking for your vote in November. Thank you.